guy in here. Alright, a yellow perch. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Darth Slone, your official partnered content creator, and we're out here fishing for some of the little things. We've got some of the challenges going on for bluegill and things, so I'm out here fishing for bluegill, but I'll take a yellow perch. So I have caught a diamond yellow perch here. But the purposes of this video, guys, this is geared more toward beginners, people that have just started playing the angler. As you know, it's not been out on console that long. It is the Christmas time of year. A lot of people thinking about getting this game for the holidays if they don't have it yet. I highly recommend it. For those of you that know me and my channel, I streamed the Hunter Call of the Wild for basically about 3 years, and lately I've been streaming this game. This game has kind of won me over. I'm going to go back to the Hunter Call of the Wild, but this game has its hooks in me right now. At some point, I'm going to look for some type of balance between the two games because I do love them both, but sometimes you need a break. And this game has offered everything that I need, and there's so much to do now with 3 maps and needing, you know, all these diamonds and things. But one of the requests I have from my buddy Les86, is he just got the game, is a lot of the newer players need to know how to set up to fish for different things. So this is this may even end up being a 2-part video. I'm not sure yet. As I have 5 rod slots. Now, new players, as I'm understanding, may just have 3 rod slots. So you'll have to take this, you know, considering that you may have to start out with the first 3 setups that I show you and then expand from there, because the progression system of the game, it is harder to catch bigger fish. Okay, when you first start out, you need to catch those bronzes and those panfish size. So this video is going to be aimed at how to help you start out with your setups for the different variations of fish. No matter what level you are, I mean, I still like coming out here, putting on a small pole. I got one coming for it right now, and just catching some of these little diamonds. There's a few of them I don't have a black crappie diamond. If you're catching perch and you don't want to catch them, and you want to catch bluegill, for example, and that's what's going to happen. The perch are a little more aggressive. So the perch like the bloodworm as well. But look at this little, when you hit tab, look at all these other baits. See, a lot of people, I had someone comment the other day, well, this fish doesn't even, I think it was the new legendary, well, they don't even like poppers, I think. And I was like, yeah, you just got to hit tab and it takes you over to, see, look at all these baits. It just shows 3 when you first look. Look at all these baits here that it shows now. I'm going to put on marshmallow if I want to catch bluegill. Check this out. Check this little strategy. Hopefully this works. It has always worked well for me, but let's see if it works for the purposes of this video. It would be great if it did. And while we're waiting, I'll just kind of go through some things here for the new player. Some people have noticed after buying things that this will say 0, and they're like, I lost my diamonds. This is not a diamond counter. It kind of is and it kind of isn't. Since I traded in and bought something, I have caught 3 more diamonds. When I buy something, like if I go and buy something right now and it requires 3 diamond tokens and a legendary token and 30 gold tokens, for example, when we come back and look at this map, it's going to be wiped out. I'll have like 34 gold tokens, 0 diamond, and 9 legendary tokens. Can't go to these other outposts and buy anything. There's not a shop there. There's only a shop on 1 outpost per map, and that's the main starting one right there, Diamond's Peak Outpost on Golden Ridge. And we're going to focus mostly on Golden Ridge for this video, okay? Now, if you all would do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe, notify bell, and we're going to hop into these setups, that 5 setups at least, and all the way from starting out all the way up until you can actually, well, actually, there's one part that you don't get on this map, and that's the Stallo and the Hund reel, and I have a guide out for that that I'll probably link in this video so that you can go to it if you don't have it. And that's where we're going to cut it off. You can catch a lot of your bigger things with the Stallo and the Hund, assuming you are a high enough level to unlock the 33-pound line that goes with it. Okay, you can go and get that, get the XP for it. You probably just won't be able to use it until you hit a certain level. I can't remember if it's 20, 20, 30, 35, somewhere through there you unlock the line. But there's plenty to do because, as you can see here, the reputation on each map caps out at 1,000. I am a creator, an official partner creator. I had this game before it came out, really. We played the game, you know, here on PC since release, and we had other missions that they have since taken off and don't exist anymore. And so they didn't take our reputation away from doing all those missions. So that's why I have over 1,000 rep. But if you're just now coming into the game, those missions are long gone. So you can only get up to 1,000 rep. And the reputation is very important because what happens there is you'll go to the shop, like the souvenir shop, and you're going to see stuff that's 500 rep, 750 rep, required in order to buy it. Now, you never lose these stars. You don't trade them in like you do the tokens. But starting out right now, let's look at my setups. For the new player here, guys, we're getting a bite here now. There are tackle expansions where I can expand my tackle. That's a green sunfish here too. So that's another fish, you know, that bites the marshmallow. I'm starting out, you'll notice here with the Maiden. All these are spinning rods too, and I'll explain why. Because we can still switch over to lure spinning. It depends on the type of fishing that you're doing. But if you buy bait casting rods, you can't do float fishing with the bait casting rod. But you can do lure fishing with the spinner rod. So that's why it's important when you first start out, get those spinning rods going, because you can do either or with them. The bottom fishing is mostly set up for Spain, but there are fish on here that you can also catch with bottom fishing now. Like, for example, you can catch the channel cats. They are bottom lurkers, for example. And you can put cheese red worm leeches on bottom baits, or you can put any of the new baits they come out with too. So there are a few fish, but a lot of the fish on Spain are bottom. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to look at float fishing for the beginner. And let's look. The Maiden is, you'll see the max line strength of 4.41. That's what you need to pay attention to, guys. A lot of people don't realize that starting out. They're like, why can't I put this line on whatever? That is the biggest line that you can put on this pole. The max line strength is what you look at. The other stuff, that's just how strong the pole is, flexibility and stuff like that. Really don't matter. Just look at that max line strength, okay? Match your reel to that max line strength. And that will allow you to catch fish easier. It will give you the most adjustment on drag to keep your line from snapping. And that will help you tremendously when it comes to Spain. When you start doing those gear challenges on Spain, when it starts telling you to catch this fish on a 3-pound line and all that, if you match the reel to the line, you're going to have a much easier time catching those fish, trust me. So I'm using the Tyro. So the Maiden and the Tyro, max drag 4.41, that matches my line strength, using the fluorocarbon 4.41 pound line float. Now you're going to catch on the Maiden, you can catch all the way down to the mountain whitefish. And here's what I'm talking about. With the Maiden, now it's a little bit of overkill on some of these smaller fish, but the greenhorn you start out with. So I didn't want to show the greenhorn. You all know that you start out with the greenhorn and the prologue reel that it gives you with that. So your next step up is going to be the Maiden. Okay. And so what I would do, because you don't want to be packing like every 2 pounds a different rod. So I've kind of staggered it to cover all these fish and kind of tell you, you can catch with the Maiden down to the mountain whitefish. That's a good, now you can go up because it's good for 4.41 pounds. Kokanee are going to get a little over 4 pounds. So are smallmouth bass. So's the sauger. If you're catching diamonds of those, you can catch them. You'll have a little bit of a fight on your hands. You know. So now let's look at the brass monkey. Is my next step up. So if you look, 8-pound max line strength using the scope. with a max drag of 8.82 and the 8.82 fluorocarbon. And the suggested hook size, I know I've got a 10 on right now for the Maiden, would be about an 8, 10 through 8. That's going to catch you your bronzes and silvers, and then the golds and diamonds will bite down eventually on that 8. I've caught diamonds on them. Now, for this one, I would suggest using like anywhere from a, 8 to 6. 6 is going to get you silvers. Maybe a 7 or a 6. That'll get you silvers. That's when you're catching fish, because you're really needing XP. And again, if you use gold and diamond hooks only, you're going to be sitting there not catching anything a lot of the time, and there may not even be a diamond or a gold in there where you're fishing. For the brass monkey, you're looking at kokanee down to probably around the brook trout. So those 4 fish there with the brass monkey, and you'll notice. So this hook chart is set up from smallest to biggest fish. See that? The way that's set up, you can kind of tell the way it's going at that angle right there. So the kokanee gets a little over 4 pounds for the diamonds. That's why we're graduating up to the brass monkey. You're going to catch that with ease with the brass monkey, but then you start getting down around the brook trout area, and you can catch a golden trout, shovel-nosed sturgeon, probably a largemouth. You can catch these fish down into here. You're just going to have a fight. All right, guys, so the kokanee salmon, see, I have a diamond that's 4.45. So we could catch it with the Maiden, and, the diamonds may get a little bigger than that too. But we're going to use the brass monkey because it's a little bit bigger. And we're going to look, the hook size for the kokanee, I'm going to use a 7 just because I want to get them biting. It'll be easier for me to get them biting, and then maybe I'll start using a silver once I've found a good spot. But the spinner, the number 7 spinner, hopefully I have that on me. I'm not really for sure. But there's if you just hit that, now I can set that back up. There's a size 7 spinner right there. Okay. Let's use that. We might catch like a rainbow trout or something. We could get in trouble if we catch a bigger fish, but I'm hoping we'll catch kokanee. They're in here. Let's see what we can catch here. This looks to be a pretty good size fish, and as you can see here, we've actually caught a brook trout, which is fine too. That's one of the fish that's included in this. Kokanee to brook trout, that is completely okay. All right, guys, so now I'm graduated up, catching a little bit bigger fish. I've decided to go for a largemouth, okay? So we're using that Vizier. It goes 13 pounds max line strength. If we look at it here, 13 pound max line strength, 0.23. Optic, 13.23 max drag. We've got the fluorocarbon, 13.23 line. Got for float fishing right now, but I want to use the popper, which is the preferred bait for the largemouth. So I'm going to switch over to a popper and see how easy that was. That's why I like using spinner rods. They have such flexibility. But now, when you start getting to the bigger fish, you really can't do that, though. Start getting to the bigger fish, we want to go with probably bottom fishing if they're a bottom fisher, or a bait caster, because you just have bigger, like Atlantic salmon. I prefer a big bait caster rod. Anyway, we're not there yet. This is a beginner guide, so we ain't even talking about those types of fish right now. All right, let's look at the popper. Size 6 is going to get us the size that we need here. Let's look. Size 6, largemouth bass is going to get us bronze and up. So let's see what we can do. And then after we've caught a few, we can switch up, we use a bigger size. But let's look. Let's see how to use the popper. If you look at the bait, it says twitching. So at least on PC, you hit the control button. I don't know what the button is on console, but it twitches for you. We used to have to do it ourselves. I've already got one come after it. See, this is assuming it's a largemouth, but we're not having any trouble here with the size of this one. So this probably isn't a big one, but again, it's going to be overkill on smaller fish, but you have to be prepared in case you hook up with a big diamond. You want to be able to get it in without it snapping your line. Let's see what we've caught here. All right, guys, we have a decent 3.41 pound largemouth using the popper. Let's look at something here. Largemouth bass, 10.64 pounds. So even the brass monkey that we were using earlier was only max line strength of 8 pounds. So if you hook into a big largemouth, you know, I'm feeling pretty confident with this Vizier that I can get it in, no problem. But the brass monkey and definitely the Maiden probably would have snapped the line on a 4 pound. You know, you could fight it for a long time and get it in, but that's the thing. You got to be prepared for those big diamonds to bite. All right, let's look at our next rod setup. The regular Advocate is 55 pound strength. That's really not what we're looking at. We're looking at max line strength of 22 pounds. So we're going up to the big boys now. Some of the bigger fish on this map, except for lake trout, really, you could catch with this thing. Going to suggest catching walleye down to pike. Now, the Vizier that we just looked at, let's go back and look at that real quick. The Vizier that we just caught that largemouth on, I would suggest like golden trout down to cutthroat. There, as you see, those are all similar size fish. Golden trout down to cutthroat for the Vizier. Size 5 hook, you know, 6 hook, somewhere in that neighborhood for those fish. And then when we go to the Advocate, we're going to be looking at walleye. But I would suggest, just to stay safe, nice and easy, walleye to pike. Those 4 fish there, and using about a 4 hook will get you like silver and above, besides burbot. Burbot, 4 hooks getting good. So you might want to use a 5 hook. So you could, if you wanted, you know, drop down to a 5 hook, but depends on what you're fishing, you know, 5 or a 4 on those, what you're fishing for. But let's look for the Advocate. We're looking at walleye to pike. Now, I really like tiger muskie fishing, and those pike are roughly the same size, like I said. But you could use the Stallo on that if you want, and the Stallo for channel cat, those bottom 3. And you can catch lake trout on it, but you're going to have a big fight if you catch a 50 pounder. You can get them in though. You can actually, I have caught Big Larry, Goldstein and Big Larry on the Stallo rod. Now Sidewinder, don't even attempt it. And we're talking about the Stallo rod there. That's the one that you go to Norway, Trosport, and get that, okay? The Advocate, 22 pounds, any of those fish really at the bottom, you can catch them. You can catch all those. Like, I would have no problems using the Advocate and going and fishing for tiger muskie, even though that's down here a little bit. A tiger muskie, if we look at the handbook here, I've not caught a diamond tiger muskie yet, but I've gotten really close. I caught some big goads yesterday. There's a 19.7, 1 pound. So we're looking at a 22 pound rod in the Advocate. So it should be able to handle that pretty good. Now the channel cat, there's a 25 pound diamond right there on the channel cat. So you might want to go up to the Stallo on that to be safe, but you could catch it. You're just going to be in for a little bit of a fight on the Advocate. Now let's look at the Stallo here before we head off. 33 pound max line strength. The Hund, 22 pound max drag that goes with it. So it's not quite 33 pound max drag, but that's fine. You could also put the Rudel Flug on that if you wanted to, whichever way you want to go with it. But you can put 33 pound line. Look at that. A lot of the beginners don't realize that. Just because the max drag's 22 pounds on the reel doesn't mean you can't put 33 pound line on it. What matters is the max line strength that it says on the rod. Now you want to try to get as close as you can to that line with the reel, but unfortunately they don't match up like that. But you can catch Big Larry on the Hund. I've done it. You're going to be in for probably a 20-minute fight there. Fair warning. Everybody has to start somewhere, right? And this is geared toward beginners. So notice I've got the braided line on there, and that's because bigger fish tend to try to spool you, especially Big Larry. Braided line is a lower diameter and will let you put more line on the reel so that you have more room to keep him from spooling you. So that's why that braided line is on there, guys. Hope this covers everything, get you pointed in the right direction. If you would, do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe, notify bell. If there is something that I left unturned, something that you're wondering about there, please let me know in the comments. I think I covered everything that I had written down on my notes here to cover. But in case I didn't, please let me know. Hop in one of my live streams. We're streaming on Twitch and YouTube, usually 5 p.m. You can find me on, except for Fridays and the weekends. My Sunday stream is usually from 8 to 11 in the morning over on Twitch. I am streaming on YouTube now. Tackle Tuesdays we stream. You know, I usually go live around 8 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday nights, and then on Thursdays around 5 p.m. Eastern, like 5 to 7. So you can catch me in that area. Hop in, ask me a question. You know, we do have our subathon coming up on December 21st. We're starting that at 8 a.m. and we're going to put 2 hours on the clock, and we're going to see. You know, each sub's going to add 3 minutes. Each membership's going to add 10 minutes. Super Chat's $1 a minute. Giving away 6 DLCs. We're giving away some bumper stickers that I have. We're giving away some merch, coffee cups, things like that. And we're giving away some absolutely free fun times. Come fish with me. We may hunt some too on that day. So I'm looking forward to it. It's my first ever subathon, and our YouTube channel is growing, guys, thanks to you guys. Merry Christmas. You guys have an awesome and blessed time during this holiday season. Stay safe out there. We'll catch you in the next video.